decorations.com. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, I want to share a really cool and pretty emboss resist technique for a background using the Sheltering Tree stamp set. Now, I had a request for this video a while back, and I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get to it, but here we go. Let's take a look. Okay, for this card, it calls for 3 different layers of embossing. We're using 3 different embossing powders, and so let's start with the very first layer. I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's cut at 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I have this image from Sheltering Tree. This is the tree branch image and the trunk, and I'm using Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to ink up this image here. Alright, I have my clear embossing powder ready. For with our classic ink, if you will pour the embossing powder on it soon after stamping, the embossing powder will stick to this ink, and you can emboss in this color for Early Espresso. And that's going to set the ink really well for when we do our background color. So now I'm going to take and heat emboss this first layer. Okay, you can see it melting as it gets darker. And I want to be sure I don't see any powder left that's not embossed. So I'm going to hit it really well, and then we'll be ready for our next step. Okay, so next I want to use the little snowflake image and the little drift image here. So I'm using this one right here, and then this drift image. And I'm going to use Versamark ink, which is our clear watermark ink. It's sticky, so it's good for embossing. And I'm taking this little drift, and I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to stamp it along the bottom here. And then I'm going to take the little snow flurries and just scatter those just in the background. It's hard to see the ink, but in the light you can tell where you've stamped, and it really doesn't matter if you overlap for the little snowflakes. Okay, so now I'm using white embossing powder, and I'm going to sprinkle that over the sticky Versamark ink, which you don't have to be in quite a big a hurry as you do for the classic ink, because this is sticky and it's going to hold it. Okay, so I've got that, and I'm going to heat emboss that. Okay, so you can see where the white embossing powder is set now with the heat, and you can barely see the little snowflakes, but those are going to show up when we do our emboss resist technique. But for the last step for embossing, I'm going to take this leaf image here and use Versamark ink again and just ink that up. And this time I'm going to be using iridescent ice embossing powder. So I'm just going to lay this on top of the tree branches and press. And when you're using photopolymer stamps, it's really good to use our Stampin' Pierce mat beneath, because it gives it that extra cushion and a really good image. Okay, so now iridescent ice is the bling of embossing powders, and it's really pretty, and I thought it would be great to mimic the little ice crystals on a tree. And it's okay if it sticks elsewhere on your page. It's just going to make it a really snowy, fun look. So now I'm going to take my heat tool and heat that up. Okay, so now I have all of the embossing done, and I'm ready to do some sponging, and we're going to do the emboss resist technique. And I have 3 different blue inks here. I have Coastal Cabana, Lost Lagoon, and Island Indigo. And I'm going to start with the lightest first, and that is Coastal Cabana. And I'm just going to take, and I'm test it a little bit first on some scratch paper, and then I'm just going to cover the entire card with this light color. And what we're doing is we're just building some shades of blue to make the background. You'll see when we finish that really very little of this Coastal Cabana will show, but the layering of the colors is what's going to make that effect and make it really pretty. And I just go all the way down to the bottom. Remember, that little snowdrift is down there. And you can get it as deep as you want it. And I'm going over the tree, and you can see the sparkly snow there on the branches. And I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to set that one aside. And next I have Lost Lagoon. And I'm just going to test it here. And I'm just going to come in. And I'm not going to go as far inward as I did with the Coastal Cabana, because I want some of that color to show. But yet the layering is what makes this, I think, so pretty. This is one of my favorite techniques. Really pretty. And if you enjoy this, you would enjoy one of our celebration choices that you can earn for free until March 31st, 2015. And it's that Irresistibly Yours Designer Series paper. It has several patterns that are just gorgeous that you can do this technique. And it's already got the raised shiny images like embossing, and it's ready to go for your backgrounds or focal points of your cards and paper crafting projects. So next I have Island Indigo, and again, almost done here. This is our darkest color, so I'm concentrating on this mainly around the edges, layering that color. And the blending just makes it really pretty. I love this technique. Okay, so that's ready to mount on the front of the card. I love mixing inks like that and sponging them onto a background. It's just magic. If you don't have those 3 types of embossing powder that I showed you in the video, try using just the clear embossing powder onto a whisper white background, and you'll still get that same effect. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it the thumbs up, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.